Good morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock. I'd like to call the March 3rd, 2026 Board of Commissioners of McLeod County to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning, everyone, and we've got a lot of work to do, I guess, today, and I'd like to get going as steady as we possibly can. Consideration of agenda items.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Move agenda, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Schmalz to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Chaska. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Wishes of the board?
To approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Second by Commissioner Schmalz. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Building Services, Joe, good morning.
Good morning. One item for your consideration today. Consider approving a proposal from Foster Mechanical of Hutchinson, Minnesota to replace 5 furnaces and 3 condensing units in the McLeod County Environmental Services Facility at a total cost of $47,310 with funds from County Buildings Major Repair Budget 01115. All 5 furnaces are 18 years old and have been problematic over the past few years. 3 condensing units are original and will be replaced. 2 that have already failed and been replaced will be kept. The Material Recovery Facility Operations Committee unanimously recommended approval at its February 25th, 2026 meeting, and a second bid of $48,625 was received from B&R Plumbing of Heating in Winthrop, Minnesota.
Board's wishes or questions or comments on the request? I have one question. Is there, no, there's no ductwork that's going to be impacted by our construction over there with, I mean, that won't, there's nothing that'll have to be fixed and then redone?
No, there is a duct right above the elevator piece that that opening, but that's not related.
It's not going to interfere with this,
not related
okay?
to this, yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
we did visit this topic at our MRF meeting we had last week, and I guess it's just a necessary part of upkeep for the building, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve the request. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Chachka. Discussion? I also was part of the MRF committee, and yeah, we discussed it, and the parts are not readily available, or not available at all for some of the units, and we kind of did some work into the pricing, and the pricing seems to be conservative, so that's all I have on the subject. But any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Public Works, Andrew.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Consider awarding county projects CP 26001 and CP 26002, the countywide pavement markings and seal coat projects, to Allied Blacktop Company of Maple Grove, Minnesota, at a cost of $586,046.88 with funds from the highway construction budget. The engineer's estimate for the project was $630,741.98. We received 3 other bids ranging from $599,000 up to $702,000.
Wishes of the board?
I'll move to approve.
And second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright and seconded by Commissioner Schmalz to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. John from Parks and Rec.
Good morning. Consider approving the estimate for tables and chairs from Lifetime Products Incorporated of Seattle, Washington at a cost of $38,033.30 with funds from the Fairgrounds capital budget. These would be used in lieu of the current metal chairs and wood tables that have shown significant wear and tear. The old tables and chairs will be retained for outdoor use and large events if necessary. The Fairgrounds Commission has reviewed this request and recommends approval. A second estimate was received from Uline Incorporated of Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin at a cost of $78,266.47.
Questions from the board? My knowledge is the old ones have, looks like they have done their job
Yep.
for what they've done, so. I'll move to approve. Is there a second? Motion made by Kruger and seconded by Chaska to approve. Any discussion?
I just have one question.
Go ahead.
Are these all metal chairs and tables? Or
They're all plastic.
all plastic?
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you.
The chairs are plastic as well?
Correct.
So we currently have metal, but we're replacing with plastic?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Environmental Services, Mark, good morning.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
2 items for your consideration this morning. Item A is to consider approving conditional use permit 26-01 as requested by Tyler Hazy of Lester Prairie, Minnesota, to construct an accessory structure to be greater than 2,400 square feet. Tyler's requesting to build a 54 by 104 for personal use, cold storage. This agricultural parcel is zoned, or this parcel is zoned agricultural. It is 10 acres, and the ordinance requirement is on any parcel 10 acres or less, you're restricted to 2,400 per building with the option to go through a conditional use permit, which is why we are here today. This parcel is located in the north half of the south half of the northeast quarter in section 14, Bergen Township. The Bergen Township Board recommended approval on February 11th, 2026. The McLeod County Advisory Commission unanimously recommended approval on February 25th, 2026 with the following condition. Number one, the structure shall be used for personal use only. If the structure is expanded or used to generate revenue, a new conditional use permit will be required. So with that, I'll turn it back to the board if there's questions for me.
Wishes of the board?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'm familiar with the property, and I'm glad that, it's gone through the process that we have at Planning and Zoning, and I appreciate the work that Planning and Zoning has done with looking at this request, and with that, I will move the request as presented this morning with the conditions as stated.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B is to consider approving conditional use permit 26-02 as requested by Brian Midling of Broughton, Minnesota, to grow cannabis in an existing accessory building, harvested and then transported to a processing facility in the Twin Cities metro area for distribution. This agricultural zone parcel is 9.37 acres of the southeast quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 28 in Sumter Township. The Sumter Township Board recommended approval on February 2nd, 2026. The McLeod County Planning Commission recommended approval on February 25th, 2026 with the following conditions. Number one, no processing, manufacturing, or retail sales of products will be allowed at this site. Number two, a new conditional use permit will be required if more than 5 non-resident employees are performing work on site. Number three, odors resulting from this use shall not be readily detectable at or beyond the property line. Number four, wastewater from the operation of indoor cannabis cultivation shall be captured in an on-site holding tank and disposed of at a licensed wastewater facility. No on-site disposal will be allowed. Number five, all black and gray water produced from this facility will need to be treated per Minnesota Rule 7080. Number six, all requirements of Minnesota Office of Cannabis Management Rule 9810 and all appendages pursuant to Minnesota Statute 342 shall be followed. And number 7, the applicant shall notify the McLeod County Environmental Services if the operation ceases. If you do approve this today, that is not the end of the process. Brian still has to get his license through the Office of Cannabis Management with the state of Minnesota. So there is going to be a little bit longer period. Brian and I did discuss that this morning, so he is aware of that.
And do you want to comment at all on, you did do an on-site visit. Would you have any comments on that, or either you or Commissioner Chutska?
No, I don't. I mean, typically that is standard protocol for the planning commission. We do road tour. And so there are no neighbors. It's adjacent to a railroad. It is in an area that does not seem to be injurious to any of the neighbors. And that was kind of the, opinion that the planning commission had in review to this. So other than the performance standards that we currently have in the zoning ordinance relational to odors, that would be the only thing that's unforeseen. So time will tell, and if that does become a problem, we have the right to bring that back in front of you to mitigate for that concern.
Bottom line, Mark, it meets all the elements of a conditional use permit.
Yeah, it does. And to be honest with you, some of the provisions that the state has in there, I'm grateful for that we as a county, specifically our office, doesn't have to go out and have to, make sure we're checking up on. One of those is security. The state does have pretty tight security requirements within their licensing standards. So that's nice that we don't have to double up on that.
Thank you. Wishes of the board?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
as a part of that committee, Mr. Mittling was at our meeting last week, and again, like you said, everything was, as far as the McLeod County Planning and Zoning is there, he meets all requirements, and so I would approve this permit 26-2 for Mr. Mittling with the conditions as listed.
Motion made by Commissioner Cheska to approve. Is there a second?
I can second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion?
And again, sorry.
Go ahead.
There was a few area residents there, and I think they were fine with how everything went, and they had some concerns, but I don't think that they were too big of concerns, and I know Mark had a lengthy discussion with one of them previous to our meeting, and I think she was satisfied as well, so.
Mr.
And
Chair.
I'm always kind of glad to hear that we put on conditions and try to be as transparent as we can, and our administration watches those conditions, and if they're not met, that it'll come back to the board.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may, I appreciate Lori bringing that up, Commissioner Chutska. I did have a conversation with a couple of the residents that I haven't met before, so typically you don't, in the rural area, I don't see that, but very nice discussion with a couple of them. So, I mean, really appreciative for their input and the transparency that we had from the area. So with all that being said, I was that much more comfortable with the decisions that were made at the Planning Commission level and the recommendation they forwarded.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're 15 minutes ahead of our time to start the public hearing, so I'd like to skip over to Health and Human Services, and I don't see Barrett, but are you?
I will cover for Barrett. She was planning to be here after 9:30 because of the public hearing, so.
Okay.
Unless you want to move a
Unless we
different
can-
item. You could do commissioners'
can-
calendars, Chair, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we can do that. We'll give it a whirl, see how she's running. We'll go to Commissioner calendars. I guess starting with myself, since the last board meeting, we did the workshop after the meeting, and on the 18th, I did a courthouse. We went to the courthouse on the 18th to discuss what we're looking at there for roof improvements, and, well, there's a number of improvements where all the additions of the courthouse have been come together. And we went through them and are trying to get some costs, bids on what it would cost us to get it properly fixed. And then also left from there and went over to Hutchinson to our environmental services building. We are working on putting in a elevator there so we can fully use the building. got the reports on how that was moving. The bids are all there already, but we had a contractors meeting to make sure that hopefully it went smoothly. And from there, we went to the Century Hall building on the fairgrounds to look at some noise suppression in the Century Hall building that's echoing. It's echoing quite badly to make it hard to hear. And on the 24th, I had a county ditch hearings, and we went through a number of ditches there, and I thought it was a beneficial meeting. We actually had 3 ditches, and I think we've got ourselves put in the right direction for the landowners and the people in the watershed. Brings me up to the day.
Okay, thank you. So the last board meeting was a meeting that I was not able to attend. I was out of the state at a national agriculture conference that had some of the, I guess what I'd call the nation's top speakers and presenters on soil health, and I was able to take advantage of going to that, and it is great to see that our Soil and Water Conservation Office does offer many of the, I guess some of the tools and advice and advisories that are involved in maybe helping along the path on a volunteer basis and to find some funding for some of those techniques that are covered there. But I did miss out on a few things. But once I got back, as somewhat been reported on, we did have a meeting on the 24th with County Ditch 8, 10, and 36 that evening. The full board, we had a workshop in Brownton dealing with the 212 and Highway 15 roundabout project that will be happening this summer. We did put this meeting together with the road authorities, the townships in the area. There was the cities were invited. We also saw the Forma Feed and UFC or Central United was present just to take a look at how that traffic pattern is going to change, and it's going to have quite an impact in my district and in Lori's this summer, with what is going to be thousands of cars and trucks are going to have to find alternative routes to get through that corridor during that construction season. So we need to keep everybody kind of in tune as those plans are coming together and our start dates and progress, because it is definitely going to have an impact on traffic, and that was a lot of what our meeting covered. So a big thank you to Lori for putting that meeting together in Brownton, and to Andrew, our Public Works Director, for getting that together with MnDOT. On the 25th, meeting at our MRF facility, which was covered by Doug, and on the 26th, just met with Public Works, Parks, Fairgrounds on a couple of the Fairgrounds upcoming issues, and that brings me to today.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner Wright, for your report, and congratulations on your participation at the event that you were at a couple weeks ago. Since our last board meeting on the 17th, we held a workshop here after the meeting, and then I go into the following week on the 24th of February. Like the other commissioners have stated, we had a repair hearing for County Ditches 8, 10, and 36. These ditches are systems that lie within my district, and I was appreciative of all the comments and the participation that the parcel owners brought forth at that meeting. And then that evening, I attended the roundabout workshop, as Commissioner Wright mentioned, that was held in Brownton. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
After the workshop on the 17th, I had a couple days off, so I didn't have anything for the rest of the week. But on Tuesday, I was also at the ditch repair for 8, 10, and 36. And the roundabout meeting that night in Brownton, I don't remember if you said this or not, but they're looking at a start date of May 26th, which would be the Tuesday after Memorial Day, with the completion date of August 23rd. So hopefully that will stay like that, and we don't have to push it back any farther. I thought that was also a well-attended meeting. I mean, all the townships, and I think they've got some answers to some questions that were maybe lingering, so that was very well put together. And there'll be another one, I believe, in March for any residents within the area that may be concerned. On the 25th, we heard the 2 planning items this morning that we met with last week. And then on the 26th, I had a UCAP meeting, which is still, in the winter months, they go Zoom. So that was still a Zoom one, and we talked about, the main topic was the audit from 2025 that was completed. And things are running along there, and they've got some of their grants that they're getting and renewing, so it's business as usual right now for UCAP. So that's it.
Attorney's office?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One thing I would note is we've been ramping up. My office is co-hosting with Human Services and some other agencies here a We Care About Our Kids Day event that's set for April 18th from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. to be held at the McLeod County Fairgrounds. And what that is there'll be a number of activities geared for children and families that'll be available to come and partake in. It's a free event. Our local agencies will be there, our law enforcement, other local governmental units, as well as just community agencies to highlight resources that are available to young children in our community and their families. So there'll be fire apparatus, fire trucks, law enforcement units, canine from the sheriff's office, and a number of other units and activities there for people to check out. There will be free raffles for the children, food trucks, and some other vendors available on site. So it's shaping up to be an exciting event, I think, for our local families, and my office is happy to co-host and support that. So I would encourage families to consider attending. And again, that'll be on April 18th, so things are ramping up for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hench, and I appreciate the work you're doing to promote that. So not going to give, we still have time before the public hearing, so I'm going to ask that Barrett present.
Good morning.
Barrett Spores do her presentation.
I have 2 items for you today. The first is to consider approving out-of-state travel for Carrie Ward, health educator, to attend the 2026 Rural Welcoming Gathering in Emporia, Kansas from April 27th through 30th, 2026. Meeker McLeod Sibley Community Health Services is a Rural Welcoming Cohort alumni and has been asked to participate in this gathering. This is an in-person convening for Rural Welcoming Initiative cohort members. Highlights successful practices about belonging and welcoming, as well as program policies and partnerships on economic development, civic engagement, government leadership, and more. This gathering will strengthen Meeker McLeod Sibley Community Health Services capacity and knowledge around building trust and resident engagement in the work we do, allowing residents to have voice in the care and services they receive from us. Participation in this learning experience will benefit Meeker McLeod Sibley's Community Health Services Community Health Assessment process and the Community Health Improvement Plan implementation. Correlation with belonging, mental well-being, and connections in the community. Participation in this gathering will help Meeker McLeod Sibley Community Health Services in its reaccreditation process and providing continuous improvement in the work we do, specifically to contribute to an effective system that enables access to the individual services and care needed to be healthy. Attendees learn about local initiatives, innovations, from peer communities and come away with new ideas and energy for fostering welcoming rural communities. The Rural Welcoming Initiative will cover the entire cost of this trip, including hotel, lodging, charter bus group transportation, 2 lunches and 1 dinner. Breakfast is complimentary at the hotel, and a $500 travel stipend for airfare and other incidentals. And Carrie would be available to come back to do a presentation to the board on what she learned at this.
Wishes of the board?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'll move request, and I'll say my comments after there's a second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Smalls to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Chaska. Discussion?
Mr.
Go
Chair.
ahead, Commissioner.
I will say that Carrie Ward is an extremely valuable employee that we have here in McLeod County, and also very valuable to our Community Health Board that we share with Meeker, McLeod, and Sibley County. So I'm happy that Carrie has this opportunity, and I'm sure that she will do very well in learning what she can and bring those ideas back to our Community Health Board in McLeod County as well. Thank you for bringing that forward.
Thank you.
I guess that would, just to emphasize that when she comes back to one of your presentations to the board,
That'd be
she
great.
could probably fit that in. That would be great. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. B,
Item 2, consider approving a one-year renewal of the Minnesota Department of Human Services Lead Agency Employment First Capacity Building Grant Agreement in the amount of $500,000. The grant, administered by DHS Disability Services Division, supports competitive, integrated employment opportunities for people with disabilities. McLeod County entered into the initial 2-year grant agreement in October of 2024, which was approved by this board, which is scheduled to end in June 2026. We have the option to extend this agreement for an additional year, allowing the work to continue through June 2027. The grant funds have primarily supported case manager time, so staff time, which has been essential to the success of the initiative. The annual allocation of $50,000 has allowed us to maintain strong service delivery. In addition, we are developing future incentives for providers who expand their employment services and enhance their knowledge of employment-related benefits. We are also preparing employment-focused materials to be published in the next 3 months, which will directly benefit the McLeod County community. As of January 2026, this grant has enabled us to support 322 individuals ages 16 through 64 through the specific phases of employment used in the grant. To build on the momentum created and continue expanding employment opportunities and strengthening provider services, we are requesting approval to extend this grant for an additional year. And Angie Nelson is our supervisor that is supporting this grant work. Her and her team would love the opportunity to come and talk to the board more about what this opportunity has meant for us and give a presentation. If we are extended this year, we can also extend for an additional year. So for next year as well, that is an option. So.
question, Barrett. Now, I'm aware of up to today, and is this secure funds? I mean, are these funds there? I mean, there's no chance that they will be, I mean, with everything going on today, that some of these grants won't be filled?
Yeah, as we know today, these are state grants, and we should have no issue receiving them.
And the and if for some reason we can not just not participate, is that correct?
Correct.
Or have that
Yep.
discussion?
Yep.
At that time?
Correct, yeah. We will still continue to use the knowledge that we've learned in the last
Sure.
2 years with the trainings and things that we've been able to do. We just won't be able to be reimbursed. It's been helpful to have that for staff time.
Correct. Wishes of the board?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'll move request.
Motion made by Commissioner Schmalz to approve request. Is there a second?
I can second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Commissioner Kruger, this will come to you via DocuSign.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
Yes.
And I could tell you after me, it'd be nice if I get a heads up on them DocuSigns because of all the stuff going on the internet.
Yes.
I get a number of them and I don't want to sign something that I'm
Sure.
not supposed to.
I'll try to pinpoint who it's going to come from and let you know.
They look so real,
They
but if
do.
I get a heads up, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, it's just coming on to 9:30, so I guess we'll move into our public hearing part of the meeting, and I have a couple of comments before we start here. For the number of years I've been here, this has probably been the hottest topic of all that I've gotten more communications, and I'm still getting them as the meeting's going on here. And I started writing some notes for myself 7 times, or 8 or 10, I don't know, and I've threw them all out, so I've heard comments from all, good comments. People have been pretty good about issuing their opinions, and I learned more about the history of deer hunting than I had, and I'd like everybody to keep in mind, this is deer hunting. It's not gun control. It's mixed up with gun control and the perception of gun control, and unfortunately in this world, perception is reality, and I hate that. And as far as today's meeting goes, I got some notices that we didn't notice enough. I don't know what more we can do. It's not just for this type of a hearing, but this one has been had so much public interest. We've done everything possible that I'm aware of to notify the public of this hearing, and the time is wrong, and we do the best we can. We've tried moving them in past. We've tried to move them evenings, and we have the same in a different side. We have the same issues. So with that, I'm confident that we're going to do it the way we're doing it is the best we can. And I'd like to, we want to hear from everyone that wants to speak. We have a 3-minute time limit that we kind of present. Obviously, if a topic is not, I'll leave it up to my judgment, I guess, to extend that time. But we want to try to get through as many as we can. And they passed me a list to the best of our knowledge for today from the other counties in the state. And I think it's as accurate as we have possible right now. It says that the county's planning to go to rifle hunting under the new laws: Chippewa, Lacaparo, Yellow Medicine, Meeker, and Sibley. And shotgun only in Pope and Mauer are the only 2 that I have listed right now that are going to go shotgun now. And as far as some of our other counties, Renville is having a public comment session on the 17th. Steele is having one on the 24th. Stearns is having one on the 7th.
Mr.
Carver's-
Chair, Stearns is April 7th, just to note that.
Oh, excuse me. Stearns is April 7th is correct. Sherburne, they have not set their public hearing date. Carver is on 3/10, and Brown is on 3/11. LeSueur is on 3/19. And to be fair, I'm getting a number of calls from commissioners I know, and so is our staff and maybe some of our other commissioners, on counties trying to feel out what we're going to do. And again, I don't think that's the way to base a decision. That's my opinion. We have to do what we think is best, and I am sure that people sitting here probably are aware of how we got to this point. The bill went in on an omnibus bill, which is, to be polite, it's a garbage bill at the end that they throw everything in and see what sticks. That's my opinion, but the bill, this item should have never been on that bill. It didn't have anything to do with deer hunting or safety, in my opinion. And again, that's another subject, but that's how it got there. And all our local representatives voted against it. That doesn't mean they were for or against shotgun. It just meant that that bill didn't have any place in that bill. With that, there's 100 other things to say about it, and I don't want to misquote myself, but does anybody else on the board have any comments?
I would, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Well, I've been here for many years, and I've seen this room standing room only and on topics that were good to see. And this is I think Commissioner Kruger did a great job of listing out some facts here. This is a discussion that is very difficult for county boards, and it's just a disaster that the legislature has thrown onto us. in my opinion, clearly. We shouldn't be having this discussion at this level. Counties do not have say in hunting, fishing, these things that are a great part of our great American heritage to enjoy the outdoors. This is supposed to be state decisions, and now they threw this one on us. And I do believe it was very wrong of the originators of this to throw this in the omnibus bill. Myself, I'm 100% supportive of everything to do with the outdoors. I've done rifle hunting in the mountains. I've done archery hunting for deer locally. I made the mistake of just not putting enough time aside to keep up with that, and all that stuff unfortunately just collects dust in the back of the closet anymore. In leading up to today's discussion, I mean, over the past several months, collecting emails, phone calls, just stopping places to launch that discussion, there's been, for myself, overwhelmingly coming up to this discussion to hope that McLeod County would adopt the shotgun-only language. Now, there have been some great discussions with others on why we should allow rifle. I'm not going to discredit that at all, but the vast majority have been on one side. And it's been always based on just the public safety component of it. My district, Commissioner District 3 of Lynn Township, Collins, Penn, and Round Grove, probably has more public hunting ground in it than if you added up the rest of the county, and there's a lot in Lorries as well. And the public safety component comes in and play with that because you have no idea who is hunting next door, what they're hunting with, or if they even see you. And if you're hunting on your own land and you have control of the area, that's a completely different story, but there's hundreds and hundreds of acres of public land and property in my area, and residents are concerned from that standpoint. And so that's where a lot of those comments are coming from. I would hope that today, we can just have some good discussion and share views. And this is totally setting us up, in my opinion. If you sense some uneasiness up here, this is a lose-lose situation for county boards. This is just ridiculous that this has fallen on counties to have this conversation. And now we split sportsmen, we split landowners, and it should not be here. So many people have come forward with the idea, why didn't they, or why can't we adopt the smooth wall cartridge like other states have done? Well, they didn't think of that when they threw this on us. And we have two options. It's either shotgun or rifle. In leading up to today, I mean, like everybody, we've been returning emails, returning phone calls of individuals that have reached out. Last week, I went up to the gun shop north of Hutch and made sure that they were aware. Yesterday, just trying to think of what else we can do, I stopped in at the firearms desk at Runnings and Dunham's. Last minute, yes, and I apologize for that, but it was a thought that came into mind that if there's anybody out there that is able to come, let's have this conversation today. And realize that everybody has an equal right to vet their opinion and throw it out there, and then we're stuck up here trying to figure out what to do with it. So it's a very unfortunate spot to be in, and I just hope that we can leave here realizing that we respect everybody's views. So.
Very nice. Any other discussion? Thank you, Commissioner Wright.
And Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
if I could, you noted just a bit on the process and the notice regarding this ordinance, and I mean, I can assure you that, regarding state law and the requirements of what a county must do as far as publishing notice in advance, holding the public hearing, making the draft ordinance available, those steps have been followed in this case, and it's really, those are the necessary steps that lead up to this public hearing. So just because there's a draft ordinance that's been created, it doesn't mean the board's obviously taken any action on it yet or even deliberated. The board's deliberations won't take place until after we've had an opportunity for public comment. And that's what this process is. The ordinance needs to be drafted so people can see what's being considered. That's part of the transparency necessary when a board's going to enact any sort of ordinance or even consider one. So to the extent there were any questions about notice and things like that, I just want to assure you that those steps have been followed. We're in compliance with what's required. And just because there's a public hearing, it doesn't by any means mean that a board has any decision made. In fact, it means the exact opposite. The hearing today and the purpose for the hearing is to allow for public comment, for them to see what the draft ordinance would or could look like, to share any input or concerns or evidence that members of the public have, and then ultimately to be able to, once the hearing closes, be present for any deliberation that the board may engage in, whether or not any action's taken. So I just wanted to note that those requirements have been met. It's good to see a fair amount of people here in attendance. It means word has been out, and we encourage their comment and appreciate them coming. So thank you.
Okay, Ryan, or Mr. Inch, just like to do a couple clarifications here because just so there's a true understanding. In the open here, we're having a hearing with a made-up ordinance, but the ordinance, if we were to move forward with an ordinance, can be tweaked here. That's what this is for. Or the way the bill is written, if no action is taken, I want you to correct me now if I'm wrong, but the law in the state now is all rifle. The ordinance, each county is able to not go rifle. So, I mean, we are actually then, or I don't want to say circumventing, whatever the right word is, we're not going to participate in the state law and restrict ourselves just to shotgun. I mean, just so that's clear, and that can be taken up no matter what we do. This can be changed at a later date. Could you just comment on that just a little bit? I mean, it's not like it's written in stone. I mean, there's so many, I don't want to call them loopholes, but again, that makes it hard on us is there's I always call it riding on a merry-go-round. I mean, we go around and round to try to come up with something. And again, I'm repeating, but the ordinance was written here, so if we want to act on it, we don't have to go through this procedure again.
Correct. So the effect of the state law that was passed last session was to eliminate what had historically been shotgun-only zones in the southern portion of the state. But the law included a provision that allowed local counties on a county-by-county basis to basically opt out, so that if the county takes affirmative action to pass an ordinance limiting firearms to shotguns only for deer hunting, they can basically opt out of the state law and remain shotgun only. What that means is if the county or a county takes no action, well then by operation of law, rifles would be permitted this fall and moving forward unless and until the county would pass an ordinance. This is not a one-time window for the county to act. The county or any county can revisit this at any time as long as they follow the process for passing an ordinance. So that would include a new notice, publishing, a hearing process, much like what we're doing today. So a county could, in the future change their mind, could revisit it. Any of those, they would just need to follow a process for passing an ordinance. So no action today from the county would mean that rifles would be allowable this fall, unless and until the county would change that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
It does, and I'm getting ready to open the public hearing. I just want to make sure that the audience or people in the audience knows what all the different dilemmas that we have to decide on. But has the board got any more questions or comments before we open the public hearing?
I just have one. Is there other choices that can be made if we include this type of cartridge or exclude this one, or are we just doing no action or back to shotgun?
So around the state, what we've been seeing considered is typically the two options between allowing rifle or remaining shotgun. There's been some inquiry or discussions at various points of does one consider alternatives like straight wall only, like you might see in Iowa comes to mind because a lot of people are familiar. Some people go down there and hunt with specific calibers there that are allowed, that are still rifles, still have characteristics of a rifle, but are more limited than say some high-powered centerfire rifles. The issue with that is based on guidance from the Department of Natural Resources, I think from what I'm hearing, if conservation officers are going to be expected, or, if we want them to be able to help enforce these laws, it's really a rifle only, or all rifle or shotgun only that we'd be looking at for them if we want them to engage in enforcement. And you'll see in the draft ordinance, there's even a specific section on enforcement that includes that the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources conservation officers have the authority to enforce these provisions. If that specific language wasn't included, they would not engage in enforcement, because typically those state officers do not engage in county ordinance enforcement. So some of those limitations are just based on the practical realities of if we want those partnering agencies who typically do this kind of enforcement to continue to engage in those activities, it limits our options to some degree. So that's kind of been the consensus for most places that have been considering this.
Go ahead, Commissioner Smalls.
Mr. Chair, just a question for the county attorney, being you brought up the topic of enforcement. What is the limit on enforcement now with our McLeod County Sheriff's Office as a shotgun zone versus a rifle zone? What's the component on enforcement to the McLeod County Sheriff's Office if we are a rifle zone?
Well, because that's a state law, the conservation officers will continue to enforce that, because they always have. And that's why historically, when it was shotgun only, conservation officers enforced it. But again, that was pursuant to state law. So there's no extra inquiry. That's just kind of built into the normal process. It's just here, if we're passing a county ordinance and expecting state enforcement, there's certain additional steps that need to be followed. And then as far as, just to, step back to Commissioner Chapka's question as far as options today, and, one option that I didn't note is, just because there's a public hearing today doesn't mean that the board would have to take, any specific action today. Oftentimes that is the case, that following a public hearing, a decision's made, but that's not a requirement of the statute in case something were to come up that would require additional time.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
I'll try another question here on the county attorney. So presently, or let's say the hunting regulations enforcement in the past has been by state law. So does our McLeod County Sheriff's Office act as enforcers of state hunting law?
They do. They certainly have the authority to do that. And if you look back, there'd surely be some instances of it. Now, conservation officers obviously have more expertise in that area, or at least just more, that's what their focus is on, where, the sheriff's office and deputies are obviously responding to a multitude of things, which can include these types of, hunting or fishing, violations. But they have, much more divided attention or duties beyond that. So, to pass an effective ordinance related to hunting or fishing, if you expect, enforcement and you'd certainly want the conservation officers to be able to assist in that, to put that solely on a sheriff's office, and, not having a Department of Natural Resources assistance would just limit the effectiveness of any ordinance. So if you pass something, you certainly want it to be enforced by the DNR. Otherwise, it's not going to be as effective as you intended.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Our
Chair.
our sheriff's here, and I'm not going to put him on the spot, but I've been doing, I've hunted for 70 years, so, and I've never been bothered by, I shouldn't say bothered, I've never been recognized by a deputy sheriff. It's always been DNR, unless there's a complaint on trespass or number of things. And if they are, they're maybe the first there and they call DNR anyway. But that's been my experience. I don't see it changing. That was one of my questions that I actually talked to our sheriff about and other people, is, now this will be, if we were to go shotgun, that's a county ordinance. And I think if there's a willingness to enforce that, it's going to come onto the backs of our sheriff's department, not necessarily on DNR, because it's not going to be important. I have land in Sibley County or land bordering Sibley County, so what, I can put 1 foot in each side and shoot 2 different guns? I mean, it doesn't, sometimes there's no common sense in it anymore. So I don't want to put it on the back of our county as well.
Mr. Chair?
I'm just trying to think, go ahead.
I hate to put you on the spot right now, but with the counties that you listed, do you have who voted no or who just didn't take action?
Just what I've heard, I mean, Sibley didn't take any action. I know that for sure, and I think Meeker did.
Meeker did take action?
They took action. I'm getting some no's there, and
Mr. Chair, I do have some of that information if you'd like me to share directly from those counties.
Thank you.
But this is outdated information, okay, because this is the last time I met with our region. But in Yellow Medicine, at that point, it was no ordinance, the public hearing. It appeared 70% of the people attending were for rifles. Their board ended up on a 3-2 vote, and they felt it was not in their lane, essentially what our board has shared as well. Rock and Pope County adopted, sorry, I didn't note Rock, but Pope was a 4-1 vote. The public attending was about 60-40 for a rifle. At their hearing, the commissioners had lots of outreach as well. That was for shotgun. Landowners favored shotgun, and the public data request came for more information as well, one in favor of rifle. For Sibley, they had voted rifle, no opinion, rifle, and shotgun. So they did vote.
and the Sibley one was not binding, and
Sorry,
and-
could I finish?
Go ahead.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
In Meeker County, they used the draft ordinance from Pope as well. That was on 2/17 that they met, and they thought it would go likely rifle. And then Renville, of course, is not meeting until 3/17. So we have it for some, but not for all of them. That I just gave the commissioners a list of what I could find. It's hard to find information on different counties. You can't get into a lot of the newspapers for free, obviously, so you'll see it flash and then it goes away. And I tried to go to Minnesota gun websites of, people who are posting about it, and I would get errored out. I couldn't get to anything. So to get all of that information, I can do my best, but I don't have all of it today. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I mean, Mr. Chair, if I may, I would suggest, we've kind of given a preface of information that's been brought to the board's attention prior to this hearing, but before we get into anything that even looks like deliberation, I would encourage us to move to open up that hearing and get
Right.
public comment and then go from there.
My purpose of doing these is trying to answer some redundant questions before we get them, and that's my only objective here. With that, if there's no more questions, I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Move open public hearing, Mr. Chair.
Motion's made by Commissioner Schmalz. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Cheska. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The public hearing is now open.
Mr. Chair, I just want to read item A that we were going to include for item A, consider opening the public hearing to allow public comments regarding a proposed McLeod County ordinance limiting firearms allowed for deer hunting in McLeod County. And just noting that the commissioners had added that would be a 3-minute time limit for those public comments unless the chair notes differently.
And again, it's in, item B is the same, and again, these are
No.
not, these are not mandatory for us to do.
I just need to read item B
Right.
then, because you opened. Thank you. Item B, consider adopting the proposed McLeod County ordinance limiting firearms allowed for deer hunting in McLeod County. The public hearing to discuss the McLeod County ordinance limiting firearms allowed for deer hunting in McLeod County was advertised in the McLeod County Chronicle on February 13, 2026. Thank you.
All right, with that, anybody that wants to address the board, please step forward. No dumb questions. I'd like to keep as respectful as we can and get through as many people that are wishing to talk, just come up to the mic and state your name and your opinion.
Mr. Chair,
Go
should the individuals note where they're from as well in the county?
Hi, Larry Tongan. I live Penn Township, south of Brownton. My land adjoins the Baker's Wildlife Management Area. I took a map of Penn Township. I drew a circle, 1 mile, and I counted that I know of 21 hunters for deer hunting in that 1 mile stretch. Now that's from my house. Rifles will travel more than a mile. I feel it's a real safety concern. I do not approve of the rifle. I'm afraid somebody's going to get killed, and we have a lot of groups that push deer. Well, now you're pushing deer, and somebody's shooting a rifle. Somebody's going to get killed. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Anyone else?
Thank you, Commissioners. Bob Lindeman, and I'm down in Penn Township as well. As we look at McLeod County, and especially the southern end of McLeod County, you have so much level, flat territory. And with these rifles, Larry's right, they do carry up to over 2,000 yards, over a mile. I feel as well that I'm against having a rifle zone in this area, and I've hunted with rifle my whole life, shot many different rifles. But as you get into the larger caliber rifle, I think we're in trouble if we open it up to that. I would just as soon see a shotgun zone. You know, they talk about numbers of hunters, and they always want to increase the numbers of hunters. So in our section, we've got a group, you know, we've got 6 hunters. If we turn that into rifle, I could just as well, some of the people that we allow to hunt, I could just as well have them stay home because I can cover half the section myself. If you want numbers of hunters, a shotgun will, after about 300 to 400 yards, that slug's going to tumble and fall to the ground. A rifle's going to carry the whole section. And if you're shooting up a slight hill, and it carries over that hill, where's that thing going to end up? You look at the saturation of population in McLeod County compared to some other counties around us, surrounding counties, it's a lot more. And as you start getting close to the city limits, what's that going to do as far as safety? I guess I speak in opposition to opening this up to rifle. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Anyone else? And I would just ask that even if someone else gave the same opinion, it's nice for us as commissioners to hear the different reasons from different areas in the county. Good morning.
Morning. I'd like to thank you guys too. And Carrie Hansen, I live west of Hutchinson in Lynn Township. I'm actually, I don't know, probably in favor of the rifle. I went and on to the Minnesota DNR website into the hunting incident reports for over the last 2 years. And I just picked out the deer hunting ones. They got all of them listed for all the hunting accidents that had happened. And overall, it is more shotgun-related incidents in there than rifles. So I went from 2019 to 2024. There was a total of 19 incidents total in that time frame. 11 of them were shotgun, and 5 of those from that 11 were of people beyond the target or not knowing what was beyond the target. Was results of the NEM. There was 4 center rifle ones, And those were a lot of not handling the gun right, unloading it, climbing in and out of the deer stands. There was one rim fire, which I don't know how that got into, if they mislabeled that or not, because you shouldn't be hunting with a rim fire for deer. There was a handgun, a crossbow, and they called it an AR-15 kit, so I would consider that a rifle myself. But all the rifle ones were nothing that were out beyond a distance that caused a problem. There was one fatality in those 6 years, and that was with a shotgun. I guess got some statistics on that, you know, as far as, I mean, I understand the safety part of it, but it's more than just the shotgun rifle thing as safety. It's a lot of the person behind the gun that's using it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And then also, as far as that, going off a different topic, you know, you get the younger kids out there. They're hard to hold up a shotgun, you know, they're heavier, they kick more for them. Older people, the same thing. My dad's 87, he was out last year, and he's getting a little hard for him to hold up that 12 gauge shotgun. But, so, and two, like I know you guys have been talking about it, but with the different counties, we got land in Meeker County too, and McLeod, and it'd be nice just to be able to use the same gun in both spots rather than having to switch if we come down here to hunt or go up there. And not that we couldn't hunt up there with the shotgun, but so.
Your time is running,
Okay,
but I mean,
sounds good.
if you have something pertinent or,
No, I mean, I think that's a lot of it was too with shotguns now with some of those rifles, you know, and he kind of touched base on that, you know, at 300, 400 feet too, but when they tumble and a shotgun shell comes out and tumbles, or a rifle, if it hits something, it's going to kind of disintegrate, where the rifle can, or the slugs, they have a more tendency to ricochet and that type of thing.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Morning.
Tyler Azy, Burden Township. Kind of coming on this in all aspects of everything. I archery hunt, shotgun hunt, and rifle hunt. When it comes time to shotgun hunting, I don't train a lot because sabot slugs are very pricey when you go to town to go buy some. And like I can shoot a lot of rifles for a very considerable amount of money. And I'm more of an archery hunter because a guy, you know, you like to take the deer that you want. And when it comes to shotgun season, it seems like, oh my God, there's a deer, shoot everything. There's 37 shotgun shells flying every direction. Everybody's pushing swamps, throwing bullets everywhere. I think if we stick to the state regulation, you know, and allowing rifles, be able to allow a hunter to be more of a hunter and take the animal that you need, you know. And, you know, a sabot shotgun shell, like was stated, you know, has more of a tendency to ricochet and flow through your neighbor's house rather than a rifle, where it, you know, rifle sabot will stop and kind of disintegrate, and, you know, I don't know, it's kind of my thoughts. You know, the rifle allows a hunter to be a hunter, where you can sit out and stand with an archery for hours upon hours waiting for that deer, and oh my God, it's at 120 yards. You know, you get the blood pumping, and you can't take that shot because it's never going to work. And like you say, it's like you guys have stated, the kind of anarchy that the state's putting this down to a county level, and with all these zones and lines, there's so much open for, well, I was in Sibley, well, I was in McLeod, well, I'm in zone 203, this, that. It puts a lot of burden on everybody, and it's not a place for the county to step in, as my thoughts.
Thank you. Next. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners. Randy Raymond here. I guess I'd like to see the rifle, and I'm basing it on data that I've gathered, based on data from states that have transitioned from shotgun only to rifles. Hunting fatalities have not gone up, and in a lot of cases have gone down. And one of them is Wisconsin, where I hunt. And they changed to rifle statewide in 2013 and have not seen an increase in fatalities. In fact, they've seen a decrease. I've got some statistics here. If I can get the right page. They've become consistently and significantly safer since they changed to rifle only. In 10 years, they had a 10-year stretch from 2016 to 25. They averaged 5 hunting incidents per year, not fatalities, just incidents. 6 of those 10 seasons having 0 fatalities. Before Wisconsin went to rifle, there were a bunch of counties that were shotgun. Only 24% of the hunters in Wisconsin were using shotguns, but yet there were 42% of the incidents involved in shooting in Wisconsin involved shotguns. So 42% of the times it was a shotgun when only 24% of the people were using a shotgun. So the DNR in Wisconsin felt they were way safer with the rifles, and they've had very, very little trouble since they've gone to a statewide rifle hunt. And most of the times when you're using a rifle, like I am in Wisconsin, you're up in a tree. What are you doing? You're shooting down. It's not going to, and a rifle is not going to travel for miles. I don't care how you shoot it. It's just impossible. I shoot a 30-06. After 400 or 500 yards, that thing's on the ground, unless you're going to be shooting up in the air like an idiot. If you shoot a normal straight plane, that bullet is not going to go for miles. I feel it's a very safe hunt. It's a more ethical hunt. And like I said, most people are shooting in tree stands. You don't make a drive with rifles. At least we don't in Wisconsin. We don't hunt that way. So if we could do it here with rifles, I think most people hunt sitting in a stand, shooting down at their deer, not making drives with a rifle. That's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Morning.
Hi, my name's Duncan Cameron, and just wanted to speak to the rifle issue. Somebody mentioned that we have hundreds of acres of public land, and I'd like to point out that we have hundreds of thousands of acres of private land where most of the hunting is taking place. As Randy was saying, most of the deer shooting is done from stands, and any rifle, I don't care what it is, if you shoot it flat, it is not going to go hundreds of yards or thousands of yards. It is going to drop and end up in the dirt. Good hunting practices state that you know where you're shooting and what you're shooting at and what is beyond that target. So anybody that's shooting, as in the case of shotguns, at a moving target and looking at the target, not what is beyond, is not following those basic, very basic hunting practices and gun safety. The other thing I'd like to point out is with the overlap of technology that's going on, we have specific shotguns now that are rivaling some rifles, but they are at least 4 times more expensive to set up and get going than your standard Mossberg or Remington. So just wanted to point that out. Also, the technology with pistols and that is such that we have pistols that are capable of reaching out to 200-300 yards with ease. Okay? So we're getting to the point where we are in the rifle territory. The other thing is personal experience with hunting deer in McLeod County here with both pistols and in other states with rifles. It's way more humanitarian to shoot an animal with a rifle than it is with a shotgun. Many people here in this room will know that tracking a deer after it's been hit with a slug is not fun, only to find out that, one, the blood trail runs cold, or 2 weeks later you see a coyote dragging a hind quarter off somewhere. Not good. That animal died a miserable death. Okay, with a rifle, that animal's going down, primarily because it's normally standing still and you've got glass on it, meaning you've got a scope and you're looking at it and you're making an exact hit. And I don't know how many times I've heard a shotgun go off, bang, and then seconds later or less, you hear bang, 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 because somebody didn't hit it the first time, or they tried to continue to shoot it. You know they missed. And they're shooting at a moving target. Are they really clear as to where that, what is beyond that target? With rifles, the animal is normally standing still, and you're making a very clean shot. As Randy said, we're shooting down most of the time. Anybody in public land that is doing a drive in that, in my mind, is foolish. So just on those points. Thank you.
Thank you, and I don't mean to cut you off, but we could try to stay consistent. Good morning.
Morning. My name is Jim Gilday. I'm in Glencoe Township, been here my whole life. First off, I want to address the safety issue. Anybody telling you a shotgun is safer than a rifle, that's flat out not true. Practices are what make safety, or hunting practices. If you're partaking in an unsafe practice, that's on you, not the shotgun, not the rifle. If that's the case, let's just make it archery only. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Jim. Anyone else? Don't feel bad, just, I mean, we'd like to hear from as many people as we can.
Donald Albrecht, I'm down in Penn Township where we have a lot of wildlife land and so forth. My question comes back to the enforcement. If we are going to be seeing our neighboring counties going to rifle and someone does not have a clean shot and the animal goes across county lines, is that individual then going to have a shotgun to make the final kill, or is he going to be using his rifle? Personally, I'm not a deer hunter. I could, either way around on this issue, I can see on both sides, but where we're going to get caught, where's the county going to get caught on enforcement, especially if someone is trailing a deer that hasn't been killed in the first shot, and if they wind up on private property and law enforcement gets called out for a trespass issue, how is that going to be handled? Thank you.
On that item, I'm not sure, Ryan, you can respond if you want, but I don't know that we have a good answer for that. I never even thought of one of the parts of that question, but again, that hasn't changed from the way it is right now.
Well, I mean, I won't
as
speak
far
any
as
specific scenario, but I mean, there's no exceptions in the statute that would provide for an ability to cross into a shotgun-only zone with your rifle under those circumstances. So, I mean, a plain reading of the statute would be, I mean, if you're in a shotgun-only county, it needs to be shotgun-only, or, you might be looking at enforcement action. So, generally speaking, I mean, there's not an exception that's in state law regarding that.
Thank you. Go ahead. Good morning.
Good morning. Tom Bullard, and I'm from Sumter Township, and my folks live in Penn Township, and I do a lot of hunting out there too. Just to echo some of the thoughts by the other people, or some of the first speakers, I would be in favor of keeping it shotgun only. Some of the things we've heard about rifles or shotgun shooting as far as rifles, or rifles not having a longer reach, that's completely inaccurate. I have a 30-06 at home that will shoot clear out to 1,000 yards by just pointing the barrel maybe 6-7 inches above the target, and I even have hash marks in the scope to be able to reach that far. Big concern with the public, there's public land where you can have, currently you could have some of these pieces, 10, 20 hunters on the piece of land, and couldn't probably effectively cover it all. With rifles, that same piece of land, you could get 2 or 3 people out there, and it wouldn't pay to have anybody else on it. Same goes for private. My big concern is I have a 2-year-old daughter that spends her days out at my folks' farm, and like I said, I hunt out there. I mainly archery hunt, but all the neighbors currently are obviously shotgun hunting, which does not have the same range as a rifle. One of the last speakers said about with shotguns you hear people miss and then continue to fire or shoot at running deer, or how we hunt in this area is deer drives. Those are the main concerns with the rifle, because I don't see deer drives going away. We're not making that illegal, so now you're going to have rifles in a deer drive, or if you miss a deer, you're going to continue to shoot. Just because you have a rifle, if you miss, you're going to not shoot anymore at that same animal. And that's where my biggest concern comes from, is firing multiple rounds with a high-powered rifle at moving deer. So, also, I do have a list, but Lori, I emailed this to you too this morning, so of about 60 people from the Brownton area that would like to see it remain shotgun only.
Did you give it to the attorney, and he can pass it down, look at it and pass it down?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Kevin Lindeman. I'm also in the southern half of McLeod County, other side of Brownton, south of Brownton. And I want to echo what Paul said about the public hunting land. I live probably 1,000 yards from a public hunting area, and all around our public area there's 5, 6, 7 residents in that area that are probably within less than 1,500 yards of that area. And I never know who's hunting that area because there's cars parked along the road, and a lot of pheasant hunters, but in the fall there will be some deer hunters that go through there. I think everybody in this room is probably a very responsible hunter. It's probably not anybody in here that we have to worry about. It is some of the public hunting people that I'm concerned about, and of the areas that people hunt in. I would rather see it stay shotgun. I've hunted shotgun all my life, and we've always had plenty of deer. So, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning. John Mathwig. I live just out of town, Glencoe Township. There is abundant wildlife around me, but I'm on a refuge. I don't hunt. I've hunted in the past, probably killed 40 animals or more. I've been to other meetings. They said some things that I found very true. Meeker, there was one person spoke, he had a rifle range, and he said every range is shot up. And people say I'm a good shot, but the range is shot up. I go to Gopher Campfire, their ranges are shot up. I'm a member out at Cedar Mills. Every year they spend hundreds of dollars fixing their range. Same thing with people are not that great of shots. You look at the thing, what is it? A third of the licenses are filled. I would like to have our area opened up to hunting, just because if they want more deer killed, open more areas up to hunting. Hunting on public land, you gotta carry a deer stand in and carry a deer stand out. I grew up by Green Isle. You're not gonna carry a deer stand 3/4 of a mile and then hunt with your grandkid. That's not possible. You're gonna hunt from the ground with a rifle. Makes no sense. I would like to go with straight wall cartridge. They're shorter range, in the range of a shotgun. I think the state did a terrible thing, put this on the county. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I know there's opinions out there, so now's your chance to share them.
I'm not from McLeod County. I'm from Sibley County. I own property in Sibley County. I've been deer hunting since I was 18 years old down there. And I've probably shot 30, 40 deer in my lifetime too. All with shotgun, no rifle, period. I hunt with my daughter. She's 40 years old. We both shoot 20 gauges. Okay, ammunition sometimes is hard to find, but I kind of shoot a lot. And if I can find the right ammo, I can get some pretty decent price on them. I know a lot of people have said, well, you can't get good unless you practice. Well, if you're consistent, it doesn't make any difference how much you practice. I can shoot 5 shots and I know where I'm going to be shooting my gun every time, because my gun doesn't change. It's maybe my eyesight isn't as good or something like that. But I've talked to my daughter, and I didn't know that Sibley County had approved rifle. She will not hunt down there this year, because from where she sits, we're all in ground blinds. She can see 5 different hunters from where she's sitting in her ground blind. And she does not feel safe if there's rifle down there, because we don't know who's on the other side of that rifle. Because, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to even hunt this year down in Sibley County if they approve rifle down there. It's been 80 years since we've had to use a shotgun. And now all of a sudden to change it just like that and say, well, rifle's okay down there, I just don't see it. Because like I say, we're on the ground. We're not shooting from a tree. Because a lot of the property, we get permission to hunt. Well, I'm not going to put a tree stand in somebody's property if I can't, I'm not going to leave it there. So like I said, I hope you guys can see that shotgun is still a lethal way of taking a deer and humane way of taking a deer. We shot 2 last year. I shot 1, my daughter shot 1. And we had to track 1, and our neighbor was nice enough that they helped us track it. We found it. Like I say, I'm worried about the people. Like I said, it's not me that's shooting the gun that I'm worried about. It's the other people on the other side of that gun that I'm worried about. And thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, can you state your names, please, sir, just so we have all the names of the commenters?
Dave Kube, Kube.
Thank you. And then I just want to note that I don't know for sure that Sibley, what Sibley
To
County
the best
passed.
of my knowledge, they hadn't voted on
Yeah,
it. They
I
were
didn't
seeing
think
what
that they
local
had.
counties were going to do.
Mr.
And
Chair, you noted
could I-
that they may have, so I'm just gonna say that that's not confirmed. I need to look
Okay.
that up in their minutes.
Okay,
I,
okay.
I can confirm that they took no action and
That's
have
what
no
I,
desire.
because they were wondering what you guys were going to
There's
do.
only, well, they.
I'm sorry,
it
I'm just
shouldn't
trying to be
pertinent-
honest with you guys.
It
I was
shouldn't
at
be
the
pertinent to
meeting.
this hearing, but there's one commissioner that wanted to bring it back and the others voted it down. So it's no different than whatever action we take today, we can bring it back. I
Okay.
mean,
But
that's
now,
another thing that sucks.
Don't you have to have a decision by April 5th? Isn't that the deadline for the DNR? Am I wrong, or am I
To
not
get it
wrong?
in the book, I believe, it's later than that, but it's something about getting it in the book. According to the statute, and Ryan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we can bring it back anytime, if we need to. And when I say anytime, it may be next year, but I'm not positive on, you can't make one decision this week and another one next week, but I know
Yeah,
it can be
yeah.
brought back.
Okay, but once you make a decision here, whatever you guys have decided not to act on, it's going to be rifle, period, correct? If you don't, if you make no decision, you're giving the state the right to do it, correct?
The state has already taken
Yes.
the right to do it. We
Okay.
have to take action to add to
I don't want to
that.
be in your position, how's that?
Thank you. And, Mr. Chair, just to speak to that deadline of sorts, there's not a deadline in the statute that was provided, but the DNR has encouraged counties to, if they're going to take action, to do so prior to May 1st, and then to notify them. And I think that May 1st deadline is to allow for when all the materials are printed and put forth regarding regulations and the hunting booklet and whatnot, they want to reflect as
Correct.
current of data as they could. But, so it's not a legal deadline, but it's been encouraged by the DNR, and, for good reason.
I mean, not that it's not important what the counties around us do, because it is for some reasons you guys cited, but, it doesn't help us today. I'm not gonna vote because Meeker did this, I'm not gonna vote because Sibley did that. I have to try and get it through, on my merits and what I think is best for the county. Again, that's my thoughts, but anyone else?
Do we have a rebuttal to some of the things that were said or not?
Oh, you can come back, sure, absolutely. I guess it's my prerogative to allow that as long as it's within 3 minutes again.
Okay, Bob Lindeman, and I stated my name before, but I just want to, some of the gentlemen that were up here talking about Wisconsin, I've hunted Wisconsin for years, I'm out there every year hunting. The number of people hunting with rifles now, compared to what there used to be, is a very, very small portion. You can go out there hunting rifle now, you don't hardly see people out in the woods like you did 10 years ago. So some of the numbers they were bringing up as to the number of people that are injured with rifle and compared to shotgun, I would like to look at those numbers a lot more closely. You go to Wisconsin and they're all shot, all the deer are shot with crossbow and shot ahead of time before the regular rifle season. Nobody hunts rifle anymore. And the other comment was they're building shotguns to shoot as far as rifles nowadays. No, they're not. Any shotgun out there, that slug is going to fall out of the air within 500 yards, unless you're pointing straight up in the air. Rifles will carry over 2,000 yards. That's over a mile. A .338 Lapua or a 300 or a 7mm Magnum, you can shoot accurate at 800 yards, which is, a long ways out there. So I just want to rebut some of the things that were said in here.
Thank you.
Because rifle is by far more dangerous if people don't know what they're doing and if they're going to be making drives than what a shotgun would be.
Thank you. Anyone else? Either rebut or have a statement?
Hey, Kerry Hansen again. Just one other thing too, to keep in mind, back when this was put in place in 1940, when the shotgun thing was put in place, it was not for hunting safety. It was for deer management, to get the numbers back up on deer. I know we're talking a lot of safety here today, but, you know, originally it was not intended for that. I completely understand that side of it too. Like I said before, you know, it's more, the hunting safety part of it is more of the person behind the gun than the gun itself and stuff. So a lot of these guys are coming up here and talking about the safety and what ifs happens. But if you look back, like I brought those sticks up before, you know, you look back at that, and it's more shotgun stuff than it is rifle stuff. So.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
And I agree. I mean, in 1942, when this was made, I was a little bit before I was born, but it was made to replenish or increase the deer herds. And actually, when I was a little kid, for whatever it's worth, while you're thinking about whether you're going to come up or not, but my grandpa shot with buckshot. I mean, that's what, 9 pallets, and at close range, it went out like a slug. They probably harvest as much meat, and we had Jersey cows, so when they broke into our pasture, our cattle all scattered. But we had very few deer then. But in Wisconsin, I hunted there years ago too. That used to be a state holiday in Wisconsin. I trucked in and out of there. There was nothing to haul during deer season. I don't want to discourage that. I mean, as a side note to what we're doing today, I don't want to discourage hunting. I've had so many calls on the weight of guns and lower calibers of rifles, and there's something to that too. You got to cover safety as a broad spectrum. Rifle, shotguns, all a broad spectrum, and I think everybody agrees on the training of the hunter, and that's been pushed away too. And I know I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the numbers of licenses in Minnesota have fell. I think they're at the lowest for a long, long time, if not ever. And I don't like to discourage that either. So, but anyway, that's I just knew you were working on a comment. I could just see it.
I was going to sit out, but Charles Driver, McLeod County, Collins Township. I'm probably one of the guys that should be against this rifle hunting, but I'm not necessarily. I live right adjacent to public ground, so I have every guy in the state or the county that wants to hunt there has legal right. They could probably reach my house with a shotgun slug. So if you got people out there that aren't safe hunters, I'm in trouble anyway in my yard. We try to be careful. We wear orange vests around the yard when we're not hunting, during pheasant hunting season, muzzleloader season, all those things. So I really feel, I'm sure it's frustrating for the board to have to make this decision on how you're going to do it. I really don't think there's going to be a huge issue with hunting safety using rifles, at least hopefully not. If I start getting rifle bullet holes in my house or my buildings, I'll be back here complaining. But right now, I think the county board should allow it to pass and leave the burden of the frustration with the DNR, I guess. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Glenn Jorgensen from Hutchinson. I just got a question for you guys. A year ago, during the deer season, you could use a muzzleloader, you could use a handgun, or a shotgun and slug. What are you proposing we're going to go to this year? Are we going to limit it to a shotgun and slug, or are you going to allow handguns? You can shoot a 30-06 out of a handgun. It was legal last year. Is it going to be legal this year?
Excuse me, I missed, we could shoot where with a 30-06 last year?
You could shoot a handgun chambered in a 30-06
Yes, okay.
last year, legally, hunting deer. Can we be able to do that this year? What are you guys proposing? strictly shotgun slug or what?
Mr. Chair, if I can just note, so the ordinance might be what you're referring to by asking what they're
It
proposing?
says here you gotta adopt a proposal. What are
Yeah,
you proposing?
it's consider adopting, so I just want to note that. The commissioners didn't make this ordinance and give it to the, and they're not proposing it. They have to consider the approval of it, but they're not proposing it. I just want to note that they have to look at it to consider approval. I'm not proposing it either by providing them the information. It's there for them to go over because they have to go over it. So I just wanted to clarify that.
They
Just in
realize
note.
that too
Yeah.
then?
And
Yes.
if I may.
And
Mr.
he
Chair.
asked.
Go ahead.
Sorry, wait 1 second, Ryan. He just asked, do they realize that too then? And I'm saying yes. They know that it's something that they're considering for approval or not. So, thank you.
And sir, to speak to your question, the term shotgun only has been referred to a lot today. If you look at the language, because that's the semantics that have been used, if you look at the language of the draft ordinance that's up for the board's approval, it says, only legal shotguns with single slug shotgun shells, so no buckshot, muzzle loading long guns, or legal handguns. So those legal handguns that were legal were still legal handguns. Muzzle loading long guns that had been legal in the past would be included in this. So when we say shotgun only, that's a little too simplistic of a term, but so that's in the draft ordinance in paragraph 1.2 if you look at it. I think
My understanding is as well, I worked with Ryan, and I didn't work on the actual ordinance, but I wanted one available here so we could figure out the pros and cons of the language that are in there. But my understanding of the term shotgun only is to leave it like it is today. Or go rifle. That's my, and that's what I would like the rest of the board to consider, because we're not allowed, we can't micromanage anyway within the law. So, that's how the state kind of laid it out in the bill. So we have the choice to basically leave it like we had it or go to rifle.
Keep in mind one thing too, that I'll still be able to go out with my 270 and shoot coyotes.
Oh, it has nothing to do with the
It's the same ground. I know. Keep that in mind. It's the same ground. I'm shooting the same ground.
And I have that in mind. I'm glad you brought up the question, but I myself keep it in mind because this is a deer hunting regulation, not a gun. The presumption is that we're restricting guns, and that just drives me nuts. I don't, you can read it how you want to, but that sounds that way, yes. And everything that's going on right now with our gun laws, again, that's a separate thing, but I don't like this. It's really making it difficult, because I watch the gun laws, I watch them every day, what's been done, every day, read through, or listen to what was said, and there's so many weird, wacko things going on right now that I don't want the presumption that this is restricting any of those gun laws or even involved in that. Again, I'm speaking for myself, but.
Good. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, before we're done, I would read the item again too for the board. Do you have one more?
Yes.
Okay.
Duncan Cameron of Virgin Township. Just as a rebuttal, the hunting I do around my own home and property, there are many homes within easy, if I was to try and lob a round into somebody's home, it is doable. If I'm trying to shoot a deer, I've got zones I'm shooting into. It's really not an issue. The other thing with, as the last gentleman pointed out, we use high-powered rifles 12 months of the year in this county anyway, and that's for coyote hunting. Primarily that's done with drives and controlled exits on woods. So, in terms of gun safety in that they're using high-powered rifles already in this county. So, and the incidents that occur with that, to my knowledge, is very, very low. The other thing is there are rifles out there. You could use a 50 cal Browning if you wanted to in single shot mode and reach out a very long way. You could do the same thing with a Lapua, but personally a Lapua round at over $12 on a discount per round is just a little too much above my pay grade. Anyway, thank you guys. I really appreciate you considering this. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just one last thing, Commissioners. When I talked about Wisconsin and the lack of incidents since they went to rifle hunting, I'm not stating an opinion. I'm stating a fact from the DNR. I've got a number of copies I will leave with you people. This is not my opinion. This is a fact. They've had no trouble since they've gone to rifle. It's been a safer hunt, and it's just been a non-issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning. Doyle Benson from Collins Township. So, sitting back and listening to this, I have the opinion, or I have the concern that that the hunters might get divided in this situation. And I want to remind the hunters that you guys are all on the same team. In the end of the game, you're all on the same team. And I'm concerned that if incidences rise during this time, if you go to a longer range gun, that the legislature might use it against guns. So that's all I have to say is please be really, really careful how you hunt, and you're on the same team. Stay together so that problems don't come from the state level. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? Last call on. If not, I would enter a motion to close the public.
I need to read.
The public input.
Oh, do you need a motion for that? No. For the public input to end? Okay. Well, can you close the public hearing though before we're done with item B? We haven't.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure before we close it and didn't have a chance to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I will move, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls to close. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Chaska. Again, this only means that we go back to the board deliberations. It's not the end of the topic. But any discussion?
And now would be an appropriate time, Ms. Murphy, to read number B, and we can move into that item.
But first, I finish this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item B, consider adopting the proposed McLeod County ordinance limiting firearms allowed for deer hunting in McLeod County.
Board's wishes? Again, I'll comment to get it started a little bit. Since I started this, I've been hunting since I was a little kid. I mean, used to carry the shotgun picking corn on the corn picker, so I mean, it just was, I grew up with it, you know. I never shot anybody, and there's 7 years has passed, Tim, so I think I'm good. But the reason I say that is because if I'd have done anything wrong with that gun, my pa would have kicked my butt. I mean, there wouldn't have been a second chance. I mean, I could go on to stories that bore you, but I mean, I had a single shot .410, and my dad gave me 3 bullets after school. And if I came home with 2 birds and no bullets, he said, "Where's the other bird?" You know, I mean, that's how I grew up. And he didn't touch the .22. It was a rifle. We didn't need to touch it unless there was a varmint around outside. But I mean, I digress. And the point of my saying that all is the seriousness of hunting. I mean, it's. I am real disappointed in the training. We learned gun safety in school. All that's past us anymore. I wouldn't say it was mandatory, but everybody went. Some that never touched a gun. At least you weren't scared of that piece of iron. And again, this is a deer hunting regulations, but I guess I've spoke as much as I can do. Any of the rest of the commissioners. Oh, I will say one thing. Since when this started, we even have a divide in my family to what we need and what we don't need. I mean, I started this with a thought. My personal thought is we don't need rifles. And then after listening, this came to such a hot. I didn't expect it to get. I knew it was going to be a hot button, but I didn't expect it to get this big. And after people started calling me, I did some more research. I weeded through YouTubes that, I mean, I hope I'm smart enough to throw out the AI ones and the ones that were, you know, just promoting one topic or the other, but I try to look at ballistics and different people showing what happened to the projectile when it went out after so many feet. And I mean, I guess you can talk that either way. So, and as I went through this process, I've actually kind of, I don't know, changed my mind or been a little bit more open to the rifle hunting for a couple of reasons. One is what's all going on at the State House right now, or even federally for that matter. And I don't want to discourage any kind of hunting. I mean, we do have some gun clubs and trap shooting and target shooting that I would hope we could promote. I've had numbers of calls that I figure that as far as I'm concerned, I have to take into consideration their opinions that couldn't make it today, that one particular, they'd like to carry a .243 because it's light. And the 100-pound wife or a smaller kid to start with don't have the impact of a bigger rifle. And it comes to the point that some of you made. I have a .338 as well. I mean, I wouldn't shoot that here. I mean, you know, I'd like to have part of the deer left anyway when I got done. But at any rate, so I mean, them questions are going to be there. So with that, I think I'm gonna stop and see what the rest of my board has, what their thoughts are.
Well, I guess I can go next. Big thank you to everyone who showed up today, and I hope that we leave here respecting everybody's opinions and views and thoughts. I think one of the common narratives that keeps coming up is, and a couple of you directly mentioned it, is that it's the person that takes the shot that owns whatever happens, whether it's a direct hit or a miss. And those individuals that are out there taking bad shots, it doesn't matter what they have in their hands at all. It's going to be a shot that is carelessly going to fall where it should not. And that is all about hunter safety, your own ethics, your hunting party, and keeping all risks in mind when you're the one that actually pulls that trigger. And so it doesn't really matter what you have. We've heard it today, findings, I mean, a slug can bounce and go different directions, the rifle goes further, so each of them have their own risks in mind. And I'm not trying to favor one side or the other at all, but it is in the end coming down to, if you're the one pulling the trigger, you're going to own whatever happens in the end. And too often that gets forgotten by those that are not trained properly, or they're only a hunter for 2 days out of the year, wipe the dust off the gun, and here we go. That's where accidents happen, and it puts everybody in one basket when they do, and that's the unfortunate part. my role of making a decision here is based solely on the safety aspect, but both sides have risks in different ways. So it's a very tough spot to be in. I don't think I can make a decision today one way or the other, because this is, again, as I addressed in the beginning, this is just a very, very careless act of the legislature to put that here. But I'm paying more attention to, again, as I've stated a couple times already, there's just a difference in who's carrying the firearm, and is it really the gun that is causing the risk, or is it the person that has carelessly used it? And so I think that anybody who's well-versed in hunting, which as many of you are here, probably all, it doesn't matter what you take to the field, you're going to hunt safely. You're going to know what's going to happen if a shot was taken poorly. Again, referring the risks come for those that are not taking that sport seriously, and that just makes everybody look bad. So those are my thoughts for now.
Mr. Chair? Yeah, thanks for those previous thoughts from Commissioners Kruger and Commissioners Wright. I think their summation is very helpful in how we process this information. I will say, as Commissioner Wright stated, I've flipped on this issue several times, and I've thought about it long and hard, and it always comes down to safety. That's what it really comes down to. We can put a BB gun in someone's hands and come up with a dangerous situation. You can put a .30-06 in someone's hands and come up with a dangerous situation. So I value the safety component the most. I do have concerns about, enforcement and what could be put on our county sheriff's office. And then at the same time, I look at what the state has handed us to do, putting us in a very awkward situation. I appreciate all the comments that were made this morning. The civility on the delivery is a great example of us residents here in McLeod County. So I wanted to make that comment. And I think, as far as an action goes today, if you're looking for some kind of response from me, I am not prepared to take an action today. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Chaska.
The one good thing about being new to this board is that they say everything that I want to say, but way better than how I would present it. This is a very tough decision, how to fix something that shouldn't be our issue to begin with. But I've had overwhelmingly responses from multiple people from different areas of the county, not just in my district itself. I didn't realize that many people knew I was actually on the county board, so it was kind of nice. But I keep going back to the whole safety thing. I know a lot of you out here. I know how you hunt. I know that, there's some that sit in stands. I know there's a ton that drive. My husband, they drive for deer when they hunt. And to me, I just go back to that safety issue. You live next to some public land, so you choose to live there forever. But now all of a sudden we open this up and now you're in that much more danger. Yes, you get the shotguns can go that far too, if you're close enough, but I don't know. To me, it's safety. And that's where I'm at right now. Thank you. Thanks again for coming, and like Nathan said, for being very respectful on this issue and realizing that it is a tough decision. So thank you.
Attorney Hess, I know you're not on the board, but do you have any final words?
No, thank you.
Again, I guess before we move on here a little bit, is I've strived in the years I've been on this board to keep harmony on the board. I mean, and obviously, we may seem like we're on the same page of doing the best we can for the county. We're not always on the same page with what we go through, but we try to take action in workshops and whatnot to air them out and then bring the best position we can to the board and for the public to look at. And this one, it's been one of the more difficult ones for me too. I've done probably, other than ditch work, I've done more work or research on this. I know more than I needed to know about shotguns and rifles. However, right now, it's real important for me to keep harmony. I don't want to drive a wedge between, we're one commissioner short, so we're a 4-member board. Although a number of people out of Commissioner Nagel's district have reached out to me. A couple of the candidates that are running for it have shared some of their input from their constituency. So with that, I'll just turn to the board. What are the board's wishes? I have a couple ideas. I hear crickets, and that's okay. There's a couple things that we can do. We can just go out and not take any action. We can well, I don't like to use, there's table, we can table, but the right terminology, and I don't want to confuse anybody in the audience, the right terminology is to postpone. It really doesn't change anything, because at the end of the day, that's what's in the legislation anyhow. No matter what we would do, we could change it in a year. So I'm trying to be as transparent as I can.
I believe that you can, and the attorney can correct me if wrong, but I believe you can table it indefinitely because you wouldn't be setting a date then. And then if you wanted to change it, you could later. So I'm just asking.
Well, the motion can be tabled or laid on the table, at which point it could be raised again by motion. If it were postponed indefinitely, that's where it would remain unless and until brought up in a future session. So, I mean, those words aren't interchangeable, but they're both options that the board would have. If no action is taken, well, then there's no action taken as well. So, I mean, I guess that's a third option. But,
Can you bring your mic to you? It's hard to hear you. Sorry.
Sure.
Thank you.
So I don't know if you caught all of that, but I mean,
I'm
all of
bringing
those
more.
are-
I hate to put you on the spot either, Ryan. I've went through this with Ryan, sideways, upside down, and trying to figure out the right way to do parliamentary procedure in this without singling out commissioners or divisiveness on the board. So, and I just bring up these because some may know what we can do, and I don't know. I'm going to ask for. I'm going to try to do this the best I can. Is there a commissioner prepared to make a motion to do anything after this hearing?
I will.
Go ahead.
I will make the motion to approve the ordinance limiting firearms allowed for the deer hunting season in McLeod County as written.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Chatska to approve our ordinance as stated, or are we going to do, are we looking to do, is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second? The motion fails for no second. Any others? Any other motions to be made?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
I want to thank Lori for being brave enough to make
I
that
do too.
motion to begin with. And to second the motion to get it into formal discussion was something that I considered, but then that also hence would perhaps falsely hint at a direction as to where I want to go. I think everybody that came here today at least wants to know perhaps where this might wind up in the decision-making process. Next week we have our township rotations, I think there's unfortunately still a sense of not enough people are aware of the discussion, even through the efforts that were made. And maybe there needs to be a little bit of a time window. Maybe if we were to table to a definitive day, that's one option. Or if nobody sees any action taken by a certain date, we assume that this year we're not going to address the issue of hunting versus rifle. For example, if we were to just make the statement, if no action is taken by the first board meeting in May, it's assumed that we're probably not going to take any action for the 26 hunting season. And we're going to see how it goes for a year, and we can always address for the 27. That's just trying to break the silence is all I'm trying to do. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know.
I got another question for me. Now this ordinance was made for this public hearing. Now does that ordinance, do we have, if we were to kick the can down the road, or do we have to do another, if we bring this back up, does it have to come in a public hearing procedure?
If this motion were tabled with the possibility of it being brought up at a future hearing, or a future meeting, we would not need to do another public hearing. The public hearing component of the statute has been met. It would just need to be appropriately noticed on a board agenda and the like, so that anyone that were following this would have that advance notice that the board will be considering it. But under the typical process, it wouldn't be reopened for public comment. It would just be back on the board agenda for consideration.
And I don't mean to be cavalier, if that's the right word, about this, but I mean, we have a lot of things, that to do with our spending and our taxes and everything that I don't, there's so many options, and they all come back to the same thing. It can be brought up again. So, I'm gonna make a motion to postpone this indefinitely. So, is there a second to that motion? The motion's been seconded by Commissioner Chatska. There's no discussion on this motion. But I want to say there's no discussion. So all in favor of postponing this indefinitely, say aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes. It's postponed indefinitely. And I'll admit, for whoever, I kicked the can as hard as I could. But that's it. We'll move on here in a short to finish our agenda.
Number 9, information technology.
We'll do a 5-minute recess.
Quote from SHI of Somerset, New Jersey, to renew VMware licensing for 1 year at a cost of $13,184 with funds from the information technology budget. This renewal is for the servers that were added in 2025 and co-terms with our main VMware licensing that is due for renewal in April of 2027. VMware is used to run multiple servers on the same physical hardware.
Wishes or questions from the board?
Mr. Chair, if I had expertise like Matt does, I could give him a question, but I don't. But with that, I will move request.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Smalls. Is there a second?
I can second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. And that's not funny, because I pulled it off the consent agenda to put it here to have any questions that would come up, because it is a substantial amount of money.
It is.
And it needed to be at least at least talked about. And, I mean, it's kind of goes with the territory right now with technology.
It is, and we are reviewing options for our use of VMware because I do expect the price to continue to go up with the new owner of that company, as they've been dramatically increasing prices, and I don't know if it's going to be sustainable going forward. So we are reviewing options for that, but right now we do need to renew this so that we can continue what we are using.
Right, and we've had conversations, not necessarily with this subject, but we put our trust in our department head. In this instance, it's you, and you've done a good job of bringing it to us, at least to the best of our understanding abilities, so I appreciate that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Item B, consider approving renewal and annual maintenance and subscription services from Fireverse of St. Paul, Minnesota for Checkpoint firewall appliances at a cost of $104,610.69 with funds from the information technology budget. This maintenance provides access to support and the latest updates and security protections available. A second quote was received from SHI for $122,413.79.
Wishes of the board?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Chotska. Any discussion?
I have a question for Matt. So, I mean, that's a lot of money.
It is.
Is it beneficial? I mean, I don't know, do you hear from them? Do they let you know if something happens, like, or is it just something behind the scenes that you never really have to worry about?
We do hear from them. We get regular updates.
And they catch things?
They do.
Okay.
And that's what Commissioner Chotska, I noticed as well, firewall is in here. And I know from my use, there's quite a difference between coming here to the government center and using my computer than there is at home. I mean, with my ability, I have no problem with that. Sometimes I grumble a little bit that something will pop up and I don't want that, but I mean, it's a necessary evil, and even now, people that are trying to work against this can, they got technology to do that as well. So I noticed the firewall part of the protection right away.
Good.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Okay, Ryan, we're through the calendar, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you noted, I think after our brief recess, Ms. Murphy did have to step out. There were 2 items remaining under county administration. So item A is notification, no board action needed, and it's notification of a public hearing to obtain public comment on the county's intention to make the office of the Auditor Treasurer appointed. The hearing will take place at 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, March 17th, 2026 at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota.
Ryan, or Attorney Hench, could you just expand on that a short, because I know I've had a couple of questions, and I foresee seeing some that we couldn't comment on, but that is the procedure. That is not us making our final decision. Would you we talked about this earlier, would you expand on that like you did with me?
So regarding item A, if you've been watching in the county's official newspaper, you'd have seen that this notification of the public hearing was published, as well as a draft of a possible resolution that that could make the Office of the Auditor Treasurer an appointed position. So that draft resolution was included in the public posting so that the public would be able to see what's, to be considered by the board. However, the board has taken no action other than to direct that this public notification and process begin. So, I mean, that March 17th, 9:30 hearing, much like the public hearing that took place earlier today, that is the opportunity for public comment and input. Of course, they can contact their commissioners directly or county staff as well, but, I mean, that public hearing is for the express purpose to allow for public input, comment, questions, concerns, and the like, and that's required by statute. So for a resolution like this to even be considered, this is the process that needs to be followed. So
Thank you. That's what I wanted to put out there.
So moving on to item B, it's another notification, no board action needed today. And it's notification of a board workshop following the board meeting on Tuesday, March 17th, 2026 at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're at the point of the agenda for other. Any of the board have anything to bring up for the good of McLeod County? Nope. Open forum. Anybody wish to address the board? State your name, please.
Tom Dahl, 21767 Tagus Avenue, Coleman Township. So just so you're aware, so with Meeker County going, Rifle, now we've got Common Street and McLeod Avenue, which are now borders right now, or could be in a shotgun zone, and that's going to be an issue. I'll say it that way. A couple of different questions. When Andrew gave his presentation, and you did the award on the pavement, it didn't say where and it didn't say how many miles. You guys probably know that, and it would be nice if it was in the document. See what I'm saying? Otherwise, just looking at the document, we have no idea what we spent $586,000.
Is it in the packet? I am
It
sorry, I
could be
don't
in
have
your
my packet
packet,
up.
maybe. Okay. The other, I'm just going to keep rolling.
No,
I don't want to
we
take
are
up a
not
bunch.
we don't usually respond in.
Right. So postpone indefinitely. Don't completely understand that, but I believe that any commissioner can bring that up at a later date.
That is correct.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the packet, does it? By postponing indefinitely. You can bring it up at the meeting, at the time, under this scenario. If
I've got some comments and I can make them.
Yep. We're great with acronyms, so MMS, she's still here. So I look at that and I go, is that something that's a joint powers between Meeker and McLeod and Sibley? Don't know, but I see the acronym, so I kind of go.
She's shaking her head, yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that, so it'd be nice to have a copy of that if I could. Some document that's stating what that is. And then my other question, back when you were doing the grant, does the McLeod County do anything with ATHC? I wanted to throw an acronym out there, just to do it, because you don't know what I'm saying, but maybe. You do? Okay, thank you. So you do know what it is, and you know where it's located? The two? Figured you would. That's all I have. Thank you.
We'll take the responsibility. Usually when I go through the agenda, I make sure all acronyms are in that paragraph to start with so they know, and I missed it. I'll take the rap for that one. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
I do. Again, Doyle Benson from Collins Township. I would like to hand out this the first sheet here, if I may approach, please.
Go ahead. Thank you.
So with that sheet, I guess I'll probably keep my time down to a minimum today. You can have that, look at that sheet yourself. It's just a summary of that governments are really not in control of, unless if they create something. So they're in control of what they create. People were not created by governments. Okay, so with my comments here, I will say, with the Declaration of Independence in 1776, our country was made a republic. We, the people, were in charge of the government. The grassroots authority for our area also came from treaty law, and we are also part of the Louisiana Purchase. Elections are part of our power that the grassroots people have. The Act of 1781 changed the United States of American government as it went incorporated, but left us citizens out of the corporation and in the republic, which is the fourth branch of government. Over the last 150 years, the corporate government has slowly convinced people that they care for us and we deserve conveniences. Little by little, throughout the decades, we the people forfeited our authority for these conveniences. In 1988, Minnesota legislature greatly reduced our grassroots power with statutes discontinuing the constable. Prince Andrew was arrested by a local deputy constable. State statutes have left the common person without subpoena powers and the authority to conduct a common law grand jury, which greatly reduces accountability. Here today in the county, elections are about the only thing we grassroots voters have left to limit corporate government. Now that the county assessor and the clerk are appointed, our county auditor treasurer is really the only one left to answer to we the people, but is surrounded by corporate government. Chair Commissioner Douglas Kruger, Commissioner Lori Chaska, Commissioner Paul Wright, and Vice Chair Commissioner Nathan Schmaltz, I demand that you think about who you serve. Can you really look your constituents in the eye and really say that you represent them when you desire to make the office of the county commissioner, of the county auditor treasurer appointed? I feel she is the only one left standing between we the people and the corporate government. Without her electable office, aren't we open to uncontrollable taxation? When you appoint offices like the assessor, when you appoint officers like the assessor, clerk, and auditor, you violate our civil liberties. Why has 4 staff members plus 1 county commissioner resigned before the end of their terms since 2017? Is there corruption going on in McLeod County? Is there a bad working environment in McLeod County? Those are questions I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Hearing none, I would accept a motion to recess until March 17th, 2026, here at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North in Glencoe, Minnesota.
So moved.
Moved by,
Second.
motion made by Commissioner Wright and seconded by Commissioner Schmaltz. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are recessed.